Right now, it feels like the prevailing attitude is that all CEOs are fat cats just out to swindle the proletariat. Or at least that seems to be how Washington seems to view it. But when a CEO comes on Mad Money and tells you his business is going like gangbusters, you better pay attention. You won't be misled. Executives who come on the show know they're going to be held accountable for what they say. Hey, we got that wall of shame cooking, you know. And part of accountability means celebrating when someone helps us rack up huge profits. Think about Herbalife, HLF. It's the Avon or Tupperware of the nutritional supplement and weight loss business. This stock was up $5 today. Did you have any that were up $5? Or 11.7%. Joined the 52-week high club after reporting a blowout, better-than-expected quarter following the close yesterday. I was doing the show, saw it, I said, holy cow. But you know what? I shouldn't have said holy cow, because you could have seen the move coming if you listened when I last interviewed Herbalife CEO on May 12th when the stock was at $47, 17% gain. Even better, the stock is up 34% since we heard from November 10th when Herbalife was trading at $40.90. The market ain't doing nothing during this period. This was an amazing quarter. Herbalife's earnings, $1.32 per share, or 39 cents more than the analysts on Wall Street had projected, on stronger-than-expected revenues that were up 21% from the year before. Even better, they boosted the guidance for the third quarter and the full year, a true beat and raise, and the company hiked its quarterly dividend to 25 cents. It's got to respect a 1.8% yield. Of course, it would be higher if the stock hadn't been soaring. At the same time, it repurchased 1.1 million shares during the quarter as part of its billion-dollar buyback authorization. Massive, given that the capitalization is just $3.3 billion. That makes Herbalife one of the most shareholder-friendly companies on earth. As far as I'm concerned, Michael Johnson, Herbalife's terrific CEO, has proven himself to be bankable time and time again since we started the show. I think you should pay very close attention to what he has to say about the quarter and Herbalife's future. Mr. Johnson, welcome back to Mad Money.
Hi, Jim.
All right, you blew us away. I mean, you know, I got to tell you, when I saw you in May, I knew you were going to that big conference in Singapore. You were all fired up. But this quarter was amazing. On the conference call, I have to admit, you talked about a phrase that I want people to understand if they get one thing out of this interview. Daily consumption, because that's what seems to be on fire for you guys.
Well, Jim, it's the opportunity for our distributors to get a product in front of people every single day. They've created, as we talked about before, this incredible social network, whether it's a club or an office, they get people coming to them, they're giving them a shake, it's replacing really a bad meal with a good meal, and they're consuming it every day, and then even taking retail products home. So it's a win-win.
But I got to tell you, one of the things that I was surprised about is I didn't think, I'm going to use a Wall Street term I shouldn't, but I didn't think your model had this kind of leverage. I didn't think that you could explode the earnings pretty much from one quarter to another. What happened in those 90 days that gave you a big U.S. bump?
Well, it's acceleration, and what happens, and you and I have talked about this before, is that our distributors are very shrewd. They follow the winners, and what happened when the Nutrition Club concept came in, daily consumption, the sustainable business models, they started following them, and it adopted in what we call the U.S. general market. The Latin market's been on fire for 3-4 years in the U.S. Now the general market is just taken off, and it is really surprising to us in a way. It's gratifying, but now we see the acceleration probably moving a little faster than we expected.
How much of what you're selling are those new products that you've introduced on our show in the last couple of years?
Well, it's a balance. Frankly, our oldest product we have, our Formula One shake, which is a meal replacement, and our goal through our science, our doctors, our clinicals, is to make that the best meal you can possibly get all day. That's a stalwart. That is a stellar product in our line, about 40% of our sales. But we're seeing the energy products take off. We're seeing our Nightworks product from which is the science from Nobel Prize-winning laureate Lou Ignarro. That's taking off for us. We've got a lot of good things happening on a lot of fronts in our product. But it really gets down to our basic shake product, a tea, and an aloe drink are our real hearty performers.
You gave us another metric that I thought was important in the conference call. You talked about the active sales leaders as a way to measure your strength. Talk about that.
Well, these active sales leaders, these are the people who are building their businesses by doing two things, by recruiting other people into the business opportunity as well as building a retail opportunity. I think you know, again, and I don't mean to keep saying that, but you and I have had the opportunity to be with you many times, and it's always gratifying to tell our story. We have changed the marketing plan, which allows people to qualify for a bigger discount over a 12-month period, which used to be over a 1- or 2-month period. So we've taken the pressure off distributors putting recruiting as their primary focus and balancing it out between retailing and recruiting, and that is an active sales leader, somebody who's purchasing more products, somebody who is recruiting more, and that is balanced out through a 12-month period. We're seeing a real nice takeoff in that marketing plan change.
But there could also be a counter-cyclical element to this, right? I mean, don't people, we keep reading about unemployment. We know it's not getting better. It sounds like that there are people who have discovered your product, know that they can organize clubs in this country and elsewhere, and really change their lives in terms of making some money because they can't get a job otherwise.
Well, that's true. There's underemployment, there's non-employment, there's people who are looking to enhance their income. And if you may, one of our great stories this year is we have a woman who's a phys ed teacher in the Midwest who is qualified very up in our marketing program, probably making a 6-digit income right now in a small community under 20,000, and she saw her kids, frankly, obese in high school, and she saw the parents obese, so she started a club, she got people in, and she was doing it, frankly, to lead with the product, to get people healthier, and all of a sudden her income starts to rise, and she lives in this community of under 20,000 people, and I had to ask her, what the most expensive home in the community is, and she said it's about $60,000. Could you imagine, Jim, in your community making double what the most expensive house is?
Well,
think about that.
I gave you the floor on this to be able to talk about that. I want our viewers to know this because you've delivered. I mean, I don't, typically I would not. I mean, did I softball if I say talk about that? You could argue. But when you put up numbers like this and you make us so much money, you have every right to be able to just crow about what you did. I want to thank you for everything you've done and for coming on when the shorts attack you, for coming on when the stock is low, and for delivering that beautiful quarter. Michael Johnson, you're for real. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. Always good to be with you.
Thank you. Listen, this guy, this is a buyback. You got a dividend. You got a blowout quarter. This is what we live for on Mad Money. Michael Johnson, Chairman and CEO of HLF, and the stock ain't done. Stay with Cramer.